Let me ask you something. What do when it feels like God isn't answering, when you've prayed, waited, tried again, and still nothing changes? Do you stop or do you keep going? Because what if I told you some doors don't open on the first knock, but they do open for those who refuse to quit? Today I want to tell you a story about a man who kept knocking, even when it felt pointless. In a small town lived a man named Levi. Levi wasn't wealthy, he wasn't powerful, but he had one thing: determination. One day, Levi found himself in need, not something small, something urgent, something that mattered deeply. So he went to the one place he believed he could find help. Everyone knew about this house. It belonged to a man who had the resources to help anyone. So Levi walked up and knocked. No answer. He waited, knocked again, still nothing. Now most people would have left, assumed it wasn't the right time, or that help wasn't coming. But Levi stayed. He knocked again and again and again. Friends, this is where most people give up. Not because the answer is no, but because it's not yet. Matthew 7:7 says, "Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you." But what we don't talk about is this: sometimes you have to keep knocking. People walked by and shook their heads. "Why are you still here?" they asked. Levi replied, "Because I believe the door will open." But Levi didn't move, because his persistence wasn't based on what he saw, it was based on what he believed. Now let me ask you something. What have you stopped praying for because you didn't see immediate results? A breakthrough, a relationship, a direction in your life? Because silence doesn't mean absence. Levi's hand grew tired. His patience stretched thin. Doubt crept in. What if this is pointless, he thought. But then he remembered why he started. So he knocked again. Finally, the door opened. The man stood there, calm, aware. "I've been waiting," he said. Levi looked confused. "Waiting?" he asked. The man nodded. "I wanted to see if you would stop." Silence. "Because the blessing wasn't just behind the door," the man continued. "It was in your persistence." Luke 18:1 says, "Then Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up." Levi didn't receive help because he knocked once. He received it because he didn't quit. Some of you feel like your prayers aren't being heard, like your efforts aren't working, like nothing is changing. But here's the truth. God hears every prayer, every moment, every word. And sometimes the waiting isn't a denial, it's a test of your faith. That's why it's so important to stay consistent in your walk with God. Even when it feels quiet, even when it feels delayed. Scripture, faith-based reminders. If you're looking for ways to stay encouraged and consistent in your faith, visit www.stayingbythestuff.com, because sometimes the breakthrough is on the other side of one more knock. Levi could have stopped. He had every reason to, but he didn't, and that made all the difference. And today, someone listening needs to hear this. Don't stop praying. Don't stop believing. Don't stop knocking. Because just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean it won't. Let us not become weary in doing good. So keep going, stay faithful, and trust that God is working, even when you don't see it. If this message spoke to you, be sure to follow for more powerful parables and faith-based stories. And if you want reminders that keep your faith strong in the waiting, visit www.stayingbythestuff.com. Because the door you're knocking on might be closer to opening than you think.